Abduction, Chapter 5, Part 2. I don't see it. Ivanovna was obviously busy when we arrived, and we interrupted her thoughts, argued Echo. I wasn't surprised that Echo could not read Ivanovna's body language. She was absorbed in getting to the bottom of the alien abductions to see the reporter was trying to manipulate us to get what she wanted, a story. As for Echo, demanding answers was just a means to an end. Ever since I've known her, she has never had an overabundance of patience. Off in the distance, I saw a light flash on and off a few times. Then it reappeared in another place on the horizon and did the same thing. Echo must have seen it as well. She was quiet and watching, but leaned forward in her seat. My heart rate started to increase as apprehension for what might come next built inside of me. We spent the last 30 minutes staring in the direction of the light in the sky to have it finally show up. There was nothing out in that direction that could be causing what we were witnessing. The night sky was pitch black except for the stars that filled the void, and the city was to the south of us. I would be lying if I said there wasn't any bit of fear creeping into my mind. The inkling of not knowing the outcome of an event, like seeing an alien spacecraft for the first time, never leaves you. You are afraid. The light solidified and hovered in the air. It was difficult to know how far off the light source was in the distance or the light's size because it was just a dot on the horizon. Echo and I watched in silence until the glowing object grew in size. I could not tell if the light was coming toward us or just increasing in size. Then it flashed a few times while changing from white light to a glowing red. Then the object vanished. Echo laughed with nervousness. Did you see that? I did, and I don't know what to make of it. You aren't going to tell me what we just witnessed was not a UFO. It was a UFO. I do not deny it wasn't, I replied. But what was it exactly? I don't know. You know it was an alien spacecraft. I was watching your reaction as you were watching it, Echo said with a huff. Perhaps I was too pragmatic. I could agree with Echo and make her happy, but I didn't feel like I should agree. I wanted more proof. Just because the light in the sky that grew in size meant nothing. Whatever is in the sky could be anything from a military flare to a cosmic phenomenon. I would have to see a spacecraft to say yes, that was an alien flying ship. Until then, what we saw was just an unidentified flying object. I needed to change the subject, or Echo and I would have another argument. Having another shouting match may lead to the end of us as a couple. I didn't want that, and I'd like to believe Echo didn't either. The light reappeared and then shot off like a bullet. It left a brief contrail of white behind it before the contrail and the spacecraft disappeared. Wow, I muttered. See, I told you, stated Echo, it was an alien spacecraft. At the Mercedes, the yellow-jacketed man, who had never gotten back into his car, started yelling in apparent joy. Echo giggled, but I saw something more to his apparent happiness. Evidently, he was at the open field to see the strange lights in the sky over Lutsk, but his reaction was weird. I couldn't figure out why he would jump up and down with wild abandon when the UFO took off like a supersonic rocket. I've never seen a man so happy about seeing a UFO, Echo said with glee as she turned her body toward me. We should talk with him. Maybe he knows more about the strange light than Ivanovna does. I stared briefly at the man standing beside the Mercedes. He looked back at us and waved with elation. I thought him to be a complete lunatic, but something else in his demeanor made me agree with Echo. There wasn't any neon light going off in my head saying we should speak with him. It was a soft, friendly light, and very different than the UFO we spotted just minutes before. The only thing I was sure was that this man was not going to vanish into the night sky. My hand reached for the door handle. Let's go talk with him. Echo smiled with elation, pure happiness I hadn't seen since the Belarusian forest incident. Couldn't be sure what her smile meant this time. I hoped the twinkle in her eyes that she was happy we agreed on something, and we were about to do something together, and not because we were about to chase a UFO. The man with the Mercedes waved to us in a friendly way before starting to walk toward us. Echo and I walked side by side. I held her hand to support her if she slipped on a patch of ice. Her hand was strangely warm. I expected it to be cold because the temperature inside the car was freezing. I glanced over and she was smiling with a soft grace as she were pleased. My thoughts were confirmed when Echo gazed up at me. The moonlight twinkled in her eyes and all the troubles we were going through melted away. I knew this feeling would dissipate as our issues are much deeper than one moment of happiness could overcome. But I'll take it. The closer the distance closed between the man with the Mercedes and us, any apprehension I felt about the man was gone. It was as if Echo's happiness had clouded my judgment, or I was just flat wrong about the man. I could not tell. He appeared like most Slavic men I had met, the only exception being he showed much of his more upper body strength. He was a gym enthusiast, without a doubt. His shoulders were broad, waist slim, and his chest seemed wider than most Slavs. His height was not impressive, as he looked to be my height. He approached us with a warming smile.